Good morning, student friends. In the last class, we have learned about the basic function of a DC generator, the working principle of a DC generator, and by using simple loop generator, the type of current that will be induced in the armature and how that armature current can be converted into DC with the help of a commutator segments. So we know that the DC generator are nothing but an electrical machine. It converts mechanical energy into electrical DC current. So the input will be the mechanical energy. The final output we are going to get is DC current. So these generators are works on the basic principle of Faraday's laws of electromagnetic induction. That is by producing a dynamically induced EMF. According to Faraday's, whenever a conductor is placed in a magnetic field in which an EMF will be induced in that conductor, the magnitude of the induced EMF in this conductor or coil is directly proportional to the rate of change of flux linking with the conductor. While rotating the coil, how much flux will be linking, according to that the magnitude of the EMF we can be calculated by using the relation E is equal to BLV sin theta. So where E is the thing but a EMF induced in a conductor and B is the flux density in Weber per meter square. L is the length of the coil and V is the velocity in meter per second, because the conductor will be rotating from 0 to 360 degree in different position. Theta is the angle between the magnetic field and the armature coil side. So this is the basic principle of the DC generator. And whatever the EMF induced is found out by using the law Fleming right hand rule. And also in the last class we learnt about the simple loop generator. In simple loop generator we have to place a rectangular copper coil in between a two magnetic field, and that rectangular copper coil can be rotating in clockwise direction from 0 to 360 degree in different position. At each interval, we have to find out the magnitude of EMF induced. And finally, from the simple loop generator, we can conclude that the EMF induced in the armature is always AC. So, the load required current is DC. Therefore, we have to convert that AC into DC. We are using a slip ring or a commutator. Slip ring or a commutator. Today, we are going to discuss with the constructional details of a DC generator. This schematic diagram shows the various parts of a DC generator. So the outer portions will be yoke and the bottom portions will be the base, and also the lifting eye will be provided in order to make the transportation of the machine from one place to another, and internally these are connected to a armature commutator segment and also brushes along with the rotating shaft. So this is the constructional details of a DC generator. The most important parts of a DC machines are there are two important parts in a DC generator. One is the magnetic field and the another one is the conductor. The magnetic field is acting as a stationary part and the conductor or the armature will be acting as a rotating part in this case. And another parts will be magnetic frame or yoke, and in the field side we are having a pole core, pole shoes, and also once the pole core will be set up, so in our it will creating a magnetic path. So therefore we required a field winding, that is a field core or exciting coils. So like that in the field, in armature also it is armature core and armature winding. For the conversion purposes, they are using a commutator segments. Next, for the collection of the current, they can go for the brushes and end rings, bearings and shafts. So these are the very important parts of a DC generator. So we have to discuss one by one the function of each part of a DC generator and what are the materials used for the construction of the various parts of a DC generator. The first and the important part of DC generator is yoke. So usually in a smaller rating machines, the cast iron will be used because they are giving importance to the cost, not for the weight. So even though the weight will be more, the cost of the machine will be less. Therefore, for a smaller rating machines, better to prefer cast iron. And this cast iron will be saturated at the flux density of zero point 0.8 Weber per meter square. Similarly, for a larger rating machines, the cast steel or fabricated steel will be used and it is having the magnetic flux density of 1.5 Weber per meter square. So if the saturation of cast iron will be reached, automatically it will be producing a bulged portion of the machine, and also the porous material will be created. So in order to avoid that one, if the permeability will be more, automatically they can prefer the cast steel or fabricated steel for the manufacture of yoke. The important functions of yokes are, so it will be acting as a protective cover for the entire machine, and also all other parts of a machine will be enclosed within this magnetic frame. So therefore automatically it will be providing a magnetic protection, mechanical protection, and also it will produce us the mechanical support for the poles. Once the pole core will be constructed, so that pole core will be fixed to the magnetic yoke with the help of the rivets or countersunk screws, and these yoke will create a magnetic path for carrying the flux from the magnetic field. So once the coil, magnetic field coil will be excited, it will be creating a flux. So that flux can be existent in the path of a uh, magnetic path that will be created by yoke. So these are the small functions of yoke. The next important part will be pole core and pole shoes. So these two will be comes under field part. So both these pole core and pole shoes are fixed to the magnetic frame or yoke by bolts. So in the previous cases, both are solid pieces, but in the modern design, both pieces means solid pieces and the laminated pieces both are riveted together and will be making a single one. The each pole project inwards the poles are projected inward direction. So those poles we can be call it as a silent poles. The pole core and pole shoes are usually made up of with a cast steel or wrought iron laminations. The main purpose of using lamination is to reduce the eddy current losses. If you are using a laminations of very small thickness, so it will be automatically reduces the eddy current losses. The pole core serves the following purposes. It supports the field winding. So the field winding will be fixed to these pole cores. And being of a larger cross section at the bottom of these pole shoes, they will spread the magnetic flux over the armature so more uniformly, and it will increases the cross-sectional area of the magnetic circuit. As a result, the reluctance of the magnetic path is reduced. So that means once the magnetic coil will be excited, whatever the flux will be produced, so that entire flux will be uniformly distributed in the air gap through these pole shoes. So that is why at the bottom of the pole shoe there is a curved portion, so that will reduces the reluctance. Once the reluctance will be reduces, automatically the density of the flux distributed around the armature and in the air gap is automatically increased. Next is the field winding. So this figure shows the how the field winding will be constructed. So by using a various laminations can be stamped one over the other according to our required shape. They have to construct. If you require a rectangular shape, so they are using a E shape and L shape laminations. If you want to the construction will be in the circular shape, so according to that the laminations will be used. So each pole core has one or more field winding. So these field windings are placed over these core in order to produce a magnetic field. So the enameled copper wire is used. Why enameled means in order to avoid the internal short circuit. So this copper wire will be coated with a enameled, and these coils are wound on the farmer, and then after finishing of these winding, that winding will be placed over the core. After that, when a DC current is passed through these winding, this coil will get excited and it will be produces a magnetic flux. So that flux can be carried by the yoke and it will be existing in the magnetic path. Armature. So this armature is a rotating part in a DC generator. This armature is connected to the shaft upon which the laminated cylinder will be placed. Armature core. The armature core of a DC generator usually a cylindrical in shape and it will be directly key to the rotating shaft. So once the shaft will be rotating, automatically this armature will be rotated. The outer periphery of the armature core will be making the slots in order to accommodate the armature winding. The main purpose of providing these slots are to provide a mechanical security to the armature winding. This armature core will have the following functions. It will be houses the conductor in the slots. So whatever the winding will be prepared, so that winding will be placed in the armature conductor slots. And also it will be provide a easy path for the magnetic flux. Armature winding. Like that in the case of a field winding, we have field core and the field winding. In armature also armature core and armature winding. So their field winding is a rectangular in shape So after making the winding by using a farmer, so that winding will be placed in the field core and that will be providing a magnetic path. In this case also armature core will be prepared in a cylindrical or circular shape. After that the winding will be prepared by a farmer and that winding will be placed in the armature core. So the insulated conductors are placed in the slots of the armature conductor. The conductors are in wedge shape and bands of steel wire around the core. And this arrangement of conductor is called armature winding. So usually in the DC generator, this armature winding is the odd part. Armature winding is placed where the conversion of power will take place. Suppose in case of a DC generator, the mechanical power is converted into electrical power. On the basis of the connection, these armature windings are classified into two types. One is the lap winding, another one is the wave winding. So this is according to the connections. Lap is nothing but a one winding is overlapping the others. Wave is nothing but it is a series of connection. Next one is the commutator. So that figure shows the schematic diagram of a commutator. The commutator is also a rotating part. It will rotate along with the armature and these commutators are in cylindrical shape. These commutators are made up of with a wedge-shaped odd drawn copper bars and these bars are insulated from each other and connected to the shaft. These commutator segments form a ring around the shaft of a armature. Each commutator segment is connected to the ends of the armature coil with the help of a risers. By using a risers, each commutator segment is connected to the ends of the armature coil. So this commutator will connect the rotating armature conductor to the stationary external circuit through brushes. So the main purpose of using commutator in DC generator is to convert the induced alternating current in the armature into a unidirectional current required for the external load. So it will be acting as a mechanical rectifier in this case. It will be acting as a mechanical rectifier. Next part will be the brushes. So usually brushes are made up of with either carbon, copper or graphite. So these brushes are placed or mounted on the commutator with the help of two or more carbon brushes. So these brushes are pressed upon the commutator and from the connecting link between the armature winding and the external circuit. So each brush is supported in a metal box called a brush box or a brush holder. So these brushes will be working with the pressure action along with the spring. So that means the pressure exerted by the brushes on the commutator can be adjusted and is maintained constant value by means of springs. So we have to apply the pressure on the commutator segment with the help of a spring action. So the main function of these brushes is to collect the current from the commutator and convey it to the external load. So that is the main purpose of using brushes in case of a DC generator. Next one is the end rings. So these end rings are attached to the ends of the main frame and it will provide support to the bearings. The front housings support the bearing and the brushes assemblies, whereas the rear housing usually support the bearing only. Next one is the shaft. Usually these shafts are made up of with a mild steel with a maximum braking strength. That is important. The shaft is used in order to transfer the mechanical power from R to the machine. It will be transfer mechanical power from either machine to the shaft or shaft to the machine. The rotating parts like armature core, commutator, cooling fans, etc. are directly key to this shaft. According to the rotation of that shaft, these parts will be rotating. Next one is the bearing. In order to make the machines smooth and free rotations, bearings are used. The ball or roller bearings are fitted in the end rings. The function of the bearings is to reduce the friction between the rotating and stationary parts. In this generator, we have stator part and the rotor part. So there will be a friction produced. Due to that friction, there is a chance of the heat formations and at this particular stages, the temperature will be increases and it may damage the windings. The mostly high carbon steel is used for the construction of bearings because it is a very hard material. Very hard material. So in this class we have learnt the complete details of the constructional details and also the functions of each part of a DC generator. In brief, in DC generator, two parts. One is the stator part, another one is the rotor part. The first important part is yoke. The main function of a yoke is to it will support the field winding and also it will be acting as a protecting cover for the entire machine. It will carries the flux produced by the field winding. Next one is the field core and the pole shoes. So these will be used in order to create a low reluctance path being of larger area of cross section. So it will be spread out the flux uniformly around the air gap. Like that armature core and armature winding. So armature core is a cylindrical shape and the winding will be made with the help of a copper and that winding will be placed in the rotor or armature core and this armature is directly key to the shaft. Like that commutator, it is a mechanical rectifier. It converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. And also next brushes. The function of the brushes is to collect the current from the commutator and convey it to the external load circuit. And for supporting this one, shaft bearings are used. This is nothing but a simple constructional details of a DC generator. So let us discuss some multiple choice questions regarding the construction of DC generator. Students, please answer the questions. The sole purpose of a commutator in a DC generator is to. So we know that commutator is nothing but what? Mechanical rectifier. What is its function? So it will convert AC to DC. So therefore the answer will be D. Convert the induced AC into DC. The second question is, in a DC generator, the generated EMF is directly proportional to what? So in a DC generator, the generated EMF. So we know that the EMF equation is Eg is equal to phi Zn by 60 into P by A. So we have to consider other parameters constant, Eg proportional to phi. The value of phi means the magnetic flux depend upon what? The field current. So therefore the answer will be field current. Next one is, the commutator segments are connected to the armature conductor by means of what? Copper lugs or risers. So each commutator segment will be connected to the end of the commutator with the help of a risers or copper lugs. So in over compounded generator, full terminal voltage is dash, almost 0, less than no load, greater than 150, none of the above. Suppose we have to assume the normal voltage will be 150. So that means that is the reference value. Over compounded generator means it is a cumulatively compounded generator. So that means the flux in the field as well as the series will be aids together. So therefore automatically the voltage will be the greater than the normal voltage. So if you are assuming 150 volts as a normal reference voltage, automatically in overhead compounded generator the full load terminal voltage is greater than 150 volts. The commutator segments are okay. This is also already repeated. Next one is, copper brushes in DC machines are used. Copper brushes. So copper is a conducting material having low resistance. So resistance low means automatically it will be carrying higher currents. So first one is the answer, that is where low voltage and high currents are required. There they are using a copper brushes. Suppose if you are using a carbon brushes, the carbon resistance will be very high when we compared with the copper. So where they are using higher voltage and the low currents. So here the answer will be the first one. In a DC generator, lap winding is used for what? So the armature winding will be two types. One is the lap connected system and the another one is the wave connected system. We know that lap connected system means each conductor will be lapping one over the other. So therefore the voltage will be same in the case of a lap connected system, but we can change the value of current. So therefore it is used for where the high voltage, no, low voltage high current, high voltage low current means voltage constant means it is B, low voltage high current. Laminations of a core are usually made up of with silicon steel. Silicon steel will have a very smaller thickness. So the silicon steel lamination will reduce the eddy current losses. So therefore usually they are using a silicon for the construction of a core. The magnetic field in a DC generator is produced by, suppose in DC generator the important stator part is the field magnet. If you are using a natural magnet or the permanent magnet, the property will be limited. The magnetic property will be limited, so we cannot change the magnetic property. So therefore, the magnetic field in a DC generator we can be used as a electromagnets. So by using electromagnets, we can change the magnitude of the flux according to the requirements. So the answer will be electromagnets. Next one is, in a commutator, Copper is harder than mica. Mica and copper are equally hard. Mica is harder than copper. None of the above. So in this case, both mica and copper are hard because mica will be used as a insulation between the two copper segments. So if you are having any queries, please ask me. And this is the constructional details of a DC generator. Thank you. Thank you one and all.